So excited. I see us here on LinkedIn. Hello, hello. Are we live from LinkedIn? Yeah. Hello. Okay, I just wanted to be sure that you can hear me. It's been a while. I think this is my first LinkedIn live in a long time. Yeah, okay. So we are live now on LinkedIn, right? I'm just going to drop this link there for people. Okay. Hi, everyone. So we're live on Facebook and then we're live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. Brilliant. I'm just going to let people join in before we start. Hi, everyone. Okay, that's testing. So I'm on LinkedIn. Good. Okay. Yeah, I just dropped a link there. Just checking everywhere. Good. And then, and on YouTube as well, we're live, right? So, good evening. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this live session, Positioning for Leadership in Nursing. Yes, I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this. I've actually also been looking forward to it. So, welcome. Thank you for joining in today. I'm streaming live on Facebook. I'm streaming live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So whichever one is convenient for you to join. Okay. So what we are doing today is basically to talk about, it's more like a masterclass, I would call it, because there's no how I can exhaust everything. Like I can go through everything that I'd wanted to go through. So whatever that we have here would just be like an eye opener to, the bigger thing. And I would say that if you're then interested in knowing more or learning more, you can always, reach out to me and we can organize that. How about that? Okay, so welcome to this online webinar, Positioning for Leadership in Nursing. First of all, let me just give some brief, maybe house rules or how this is going to be like. So it's an online webinar and I know everyone is joining. I wish I could have you in my space at the moment, but please feel free to use the comment section, the chat room. I'm all looking at it. So my face might be going from left to right. That's because I'm trying to maintain my view on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube as well. So that is that. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section. It's all live and I'm going to be answering them. And remember, this is positioning for leadership in nursing. So if possible, just keep the questions to be related to that. Is that okay? All right. So without wasting our time, let's start. Okay. Again, let me introduce myself again. My name is Olayinka Aremu. I'm sure you know me. A nurse, right? A lecturer, an assistant professor in nursing. I'm a doctoral researcher, what you call a PhD student. So I'm still doing my PhD. Right. And I'm the CEO and founder of NCO Healthcare Consulting. So what we do in NCO is providing healthcare operation management services for SK organizations and maybe intending or established organization. So we also provide consultancy relating to healthcare recruitment and anything relating to healthcare trainings and career development and so on. So that is NCO. If you need any one of these, you can always reach out to me. Apart from that, I'm a digital healthcare innovator, as you know, as part of my PhD research and other things that I've done as well. An executive mentor and coach. Okay, I need to actually share my screen so I can present. Okay. Just 1 second, I'm going to do that shortly. Okay, so I was saying, just talking about myself there. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my screen. On Facebook, you might not see it, but for those on YouTube and LinkedIn, you'll be able to see that. So I do a bit of, not a bit, a lot of mentoring and coaching as well. So I do have some courses for coaching actually. So yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to bring up my slide there. Just 1 second. So keep joining in and you can share this as well to your loved ones. That would be great. So they can also enjoy this. Okay. Just to be sure that my slide is on. If you can see my slide, you could just let me know there. Okay, so just introducing myself there. So I mentor, I coach, I train, I teach, I'm an author. So you can get more about me, you know, through my page. You can just, even if you type my name on Google, you'll hear a lot, you'll see a lot about me. So let me not bore you with all the introductions. But far more importantly, I am very passionate about career development growth of nurses, and especially internationally educated nurses like myself. So I'm originally from Nigeria. I moved to Ireland about 7 years ago. Yeah, 7 years. Wow, time flies. I'm an Irish citizen and I see a lot of struggle. I've been through a lot of struggle myself as an international nurse. So moving from one level of, you know, career to the other, I know the struggle. So I'm very, very keen in helping other international educated nurse, new nurse, or nurses generally, you know, to be able to have a rewarding career through my coaching, my mentoring, mentorship services, advocacy services, and so on and so forth. So, as a matter of fact, I'm actually the president of the Association of Nigerian Nurses in Ireland and the executive director for the Federation of African Nurses and Midwives in Ireland. I do a lot of volunteering work and all that. So, that's enough about me. So what are we going to be doing today? The topic for this online webinar, like I said, more like a masterclass, right, is positioning for leadership in nursing, right? And why do you have to be a leader? Someone might say, well, I'm not interested, so why should I position myself? But this is for those who want to be a leader, who maybe they're actually starting in the leadership role in one way or the other, and they're struggling, or you are aspiring, you want to, you don't know how to get there. So this is for you, all right? And maybe also for some other nurse leaders who are already there and you want to see what you can change and what you can make better, all right? So as a form of objective, you know, learning objective for this webinar, we're going to be talking about how you can recognize and harness your innate leadership skills, you know, as a nurse, how you can the steps you can use to analyze and develop those leadership abilities. And I'm going to be sharing some leadership strategies as well for nurses in any setting, and the support system that you need to thrive as a leader. So we'll talk about that. I think I introduced myself. So welcome again. Please, you can share this link. You can tag your friend, your nurse friend, whichever platform that they are in, so they can be part of this. And not to worry, if you miss this episode, it's going to be available via my YouTube, then you can replay and watch later on. So let me start first by understanding, leadership in nursing. So this is leadership is not about holding a title or a position. So you might feel like, until you become maybe a charge nurse, a ward manager, a nurse manager, that is when you are a leader, or when you take up those high positions and titles. But no, leadership is not just, well, that is part of it, but it's not just about holding those titles or position. It is more about influencing and guiding others towards a common goal. So remember, I mentioned a goal and more like a vision. So yesterday I was yesterday I was listening to a clip by Pastor Femi Lazarus, and he was saying something about a leader definitely will have a vision. So there's no leadership without a vision. So, and it is the vision, it is the goal that will help you, kind of. So you're influencing others and guiding others towards that common goal. And in nursing, so effective leadership is crucial when you're a nurse, especially when it comes to improving patient care, fostering teamwork, and driving innovation. You have to be a leader. So there's, several misconceptions about who a leader is, or at what point are you a leader. So, but anyone can be a leader in nursing. And I always say this, irrespective of your background, like your racial background, you can be a leader. It doesn't matter if you're for instance, for internationally educated nurse, don't just feel like, well, I'm a subordinate or something like that. You can also be a leader regardless of your role or title. All right. So that being established, leadership in nursing is very key. You can imagine, even where you work, if you don't have a leader, what do you think will happen? So it's all going to be chaotic, more chaotic than it is actually now. So that is that. So now, to position yourself for leadership, you need to recognize your leadership potential. Remember, I said that everyone can be a leader. But does everybody want to be a leader? Like, do you actually want to lead? So in the next slide there now, or if you check the comment section, I already put the link there. I'm going to put the code as well, a link from menti.com, mentimeter.com. We're going to be doing a self-assessment for your own leadership potential. Let's start with that, right? You need to recognize your leadership potential, because many of us, we possess these innate leadership qualities. Some people will say leaders are born, and some other people will say leaders are made. But I believe that everyone has a potential for leadership. We might need to, first of all, recognize it, or even improve on it and develop it, work on it, magnify it, So you need to identify your strengths and areas for improvement. So these are the things that you need to do. Everybody can lead. Everybody, anyone actually can lead, irrespective of the age, irrespective of the, background, racial background, or country of origin, or nationality, or citizenship, or whatever. Anyone can lead. And this is very important even to nurse leaders as well, that because you find somebody maybe a black skin, that doesn't mean that they cannot lead. Sometimes this leadership skill needs to be tapped into, just the way you're tapping into a well. You need to be tapped into, you need to be reinforced, you need to be supported. So everyone has a leadership potential. So we're going to do a little bit of some exercise then. Self-assessment. You need to assess yourself. Do you have leadership potential? Of course, everybody has leadership potential. So if you click, go to Google and just type menti.com. And if you type menti.com, you will see a section where you can put the code. So in that code, that's 49452 So just put in the code there, or you can scan the QR code there. Okay, you can scan I will drop the link on Facebook later on. So you can always do this at any point in time. You don't have to do it now, but just so you have an idea of what's is in that. So first of all, the question I'm asking you is, are you a nurse leader? So I would really like to know, are you a nurse leader? Is it yes or no or not sure? Maybe you don't even know if you're a leader, because some people don't know if they're a leader or not. So you can answer that question, right? So let me see if I can share my screen now so we can just have it on the record. Okay. Yeah, the Mentimeter assessment. Okay, so that's, are you a leader? Because like I said, anybody can be a leader. So you don't have to have that title. So if you use that link, I really appreciate if you use that link, or you can drop it in the comment section if you have the answer, right? So the second question here is the self-assessment is around initiative and problem solving. So this is one other skill that is very important if you are a leader. If you want to be a leader, that you need to have, like, everybody initiate something, everybody think, you want to solve a problem, you see like there is something that is wrong, in your ward, so you have that initiative. So now answer this is part of the self-assessment. What words come to your mind when you think about taking initiative in your workplace? What words come to your mind? Because it's really important. Are you the type that just says, well, somebody else will do it? Oh, you leave it for somebody else and you just walk by and go, and you just face your business. So that's very important that you consider as well. So that's important, like I said. So now the other question there is conflict resolution. So leaders will be very, very positive when it comes to conflict resolution. You don't want a conflict to continue to linger on. And so what are your go-to strategies for resolving conflicts? So if you have an understanding of this, it's also going to help you, okay, to recognize your leadership potentials or your leadership skills. So what are your go-to strategies for resolving? For myself, the first thing will be, I want to understand what is the reason, like that's assessment of the situation. What led to the conflict, what will happen if it was done the other way around? It's also very important to be able to be accountable or take responsibility if anything goes wrong. So answer that question for yourself, or you can just use the Mentimeter link. I'll appreciate that, or you can drop it in the comment section. Another way you can recognize your innate or leadership potential is see, do you have any influencing or any influencing role, or do you inspire others? And has anybody ever told you that you inspire me? Has anybody, even your teammates, your colleague, maybe your actions has influenced that decision at one point or the other? So the question is, what qualities make a person inspirational in your view? So maybe you've seen somebody before and then you say, oh, you inspire me a lot. So what was that quality that makes the person inspiration in your view? So if you have an answer to this, you can look into yourself and say, I think I have this as well. I think I do this. So a lot of people have told me, oh, I influence them positively as well. So that is a good one for you, right? Okay, so now the other one is, where is my slide? Okay. Adaptability and resilience. So the question is, what characteristics define resilience in a nursing context? So as a nurse, are you resilient? How do you know if you're resilient or not? How do you know? There are issues in your workplace. Do you just break down, or do you just run out to cry and then, even in the presence of a patient? Or do you have that way of solving difficult situations? You're very resilient, so you don't take no for an answer even when there are issues going on. So what characteristics define resilience for you? Are you adaptable? Are are you resilient? Are you the type that even maybe when they change your roster or something, or even they decide to reallocate you, that you can't cope, and those kind of things? So you also need to check that. Now, I think maybe the last one here is communication skill, right? It's very important. You need to recognize it as well. Do you have this skill? What are the key elements of effective communication? What effective communication skills do you have, right? Are you a good listener? So we're going to be talking more about this, but remember, we are just doing self-assessment. The last one is team collaboration. So Do you collaborate with your team, or you like to just do your thing on your own? Yeah. So I struggle with this when I, initially, because background from Nigeria, we do a lot of things ourselves, and apart from that, being a nurse tutor, that autonomy, I was doing a lot myself. But by the time I started working with the HSC here, there's a lot of team collaboration, and I kind of initially struggled with that because I just want to get my own stuff done. But I've had some feedback, constructive feedback. We say that it's important that you work with your team. So I had to learn that, so that we don't just face your work. I know the way nursing is that maybe you have 6 patient caseload and you just want to face it without interacting with your colleagues. That's not a good way to even aspire to be a leader, or even to be a team member, or a nurse yourself. So that team work is very important in nursing. So emotional intelligence is another question. What traits do you associate with emotional intelligence? Are you emotionally intelligent? How do you know? How do you say that somebody is emotionally intelligent? So these are some of the self-assessment questions that you need to undertake and go through. Answer these questions for you to be able to recognize your leadership potentials. So mentorship and support. What makes someone a good mentor? Do you have a mentor yourself? Do you have a sponsor? Why do you choose that person? Are you a mentor yourself? So why do you think you're a mentor? What makes you a good mentor? So think about this. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that now, and we'll go back to this. So that's the self-assessment. Again, just think about times that you took initiative, the time that you resolved that conflict, the time that you inspire a colleague. So all of these are indicators of your leadership capacity. Again, like I said, anyone can be a leader. So you must have done this at one point or the other. Just reflect on this. So if you want to answer that first question that I said, are you a leader? Maybe by now you'll have an answer. So take your time to go through this self-assessment. You can always go back to the link. It will be active for 7 days, and just make sure you do this actively. All right. So moving ahead from that, I just want to share a bit of some global perspective on nursing leadership. Now, leadership in nursing varies across the globe. I know leadership is leadership now. It should be a standard, concept or so, but the approach to it differ, or the context, it differs depending on, your country, like that. So I remember in Nigeria then, so a leader is always like, you always find somebody that maybe is the nurse manager, or the CNO, the chief nurse officer, those are the leaders then. Or ordinary staff nurse or nursing officer, you might not really count yourself as a leader, or nobody might look at you as a leader. And the approach to it is always sometimes more authoritative, and because of some misconceptions, or this myth around leadership, sometimes people I'd rather just be a nursing officer, I'd rather just be a staff nurse. And even here in Ireland, and in diaspora, I've had interaction with some nurses that will say, I'd rather just be a staff nurse, because the pressure, the pressure on the nurse manager, or the nurse leader there, it's too much. I can't cope. They don't have a time of their own, all of that. So people get discouraged. But remember, I said that even as a staff nurse, you are a leader, because you're taking initiative in patient care, right? You are a leader. So different countries have different opportunities and challenges. So there are a lot of opportunities, where you in this part of the world, like to be a leader, to really explore yourself, to be able to discover your leadership skill and be able to exercise it as well. So what I would just say is that wherever location you are, in that space, make sure that you explore to the fullest capacity, and hone up your leadership role. Embrace the opportunities to learn from and collaborate with nurses from different backgrounds. So I appreciate when I see nurses from Nigeria that want to learn something, when I put up something, because they're still back in Nigeria, or they are still in India, they are still, in Ghana, but they want to learn what is happening in the international world. That is very important. That is good. And you're bringing all of this as well to your place of work, and it influences your practice as well. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is developing leadership skill. Now, how do you then develop all these skills? You've done your self-assessment. Now you know where you are, right? You know, the way I did the self-assessment is it's a word cloud, and some of them has like a multiple choice question. So you know the level that you are now. So the key skills, there are a lot of skills when it comes to leadership. I'm just going to focus on 3 key skills there. Again, like I said, this is master class, so I will not be talking deeply into these topics, right? Okay, so effective communication is very important. In fact, that is the most important, I would say, to be a leader. Most important, effective communication skill is very important. And it is not just about speaking English or maybe your Queen's English or the fluency of your English. No, it's not about that. It is you being able to communicate clearly, and the person listening to you, either your patient or your team or your colleague, can understand what you're saying, and you yourself, you are able to, you know, receive information and process it logically, and clearly, and you can, doc a lot of things. So we'll talk about that. So critical thinking is also a very key skill, very important, leadership skill. You've been able to think on the spot, make decisions when it comes to decision making, because that is one key thing about leadership. You need to make a decision about your patient care. You need to make a decision about maybe even your work routine, your relationship with staff and other things. You need to make a decision. And to make this effective decision, or, a right decision, you need to be able to think critically, and emotional intelligence is key. I added this because it kind of tie everything around, like you being emotionally intelligent is very important. So when you develop these skills, it's helps you to be a good leader. And or either you're preparing for a leadership role, or maybe this title now, a position, it helps you, it makes you stand out, and people are on the lookout. They see that you're very empathetic. They see that you're a good listener, and all that. They see that, you take constructive feedback, feedback very positively and all that, and you can communicate clearly. You're an active listener and all that. So when there is a position, when there is an opportunity, of course you will be considered. So that is another way to position yourself for leadership. You need to develop these skills if you don't have them. Well, everybody has them, but you just need to develop. You need to recognize them and develop them. So develop these skills involves continuous learning and practice, right? It's not just about just you attending webinars. There's a lot of webinars on communication skills, a lot of, materials, resources on emotional intelligence. It's all over the internet. It's all over. So you have short courses, but it's more also about practicing what you have learned, right? Which is very important. So, and speaking to the international educated nurses, overseas nurses, as some colleagues, it's important that you understand that there are some cultural nuances of your new environment, and you need to be able to be aware of them, and you need to take active, efforts to be able to resolve whatever challenges. Get familiar with your environment. Consider enrolling in leadership courses. So I use myself as an example. So I knew that I wanted more, when I was in a matter, being a staff nurse. I knew I wanted more. I knew I could be more anyway. So I enrolled for the healthcare leadership management in Dorset. And at that time, everybody were like, why not take like a specialty? So that was what I wanted. So you also know what you want. So, and I took up the course, not like I had even maybe a job in mind, the way you prepare yourself for a particular job. No, I just wanted to learn more about leadership, because like I said, I've gotten some feedback that I know I needed to work on. And if you don't take conscious effort, personal effort to improve yourself, it's going to be very difficult. So you need to take those personal efforts, enroll in the leadership courses, enroll in, those workshops, attend the work, read books on leadership. Very important. Read books on leadership. Okay, I'm a lover of nursing textbooks, anything related to nursing, but I had to go outside, to read, normal books about leadership, about mentorship, about coaching. I had to take courses. I enrolled for a professional diploma in coaching and healthcare leadership as well. So you have to be intentional about all of this. So that's how you develop the skills. So I just touched briefly about these skills. Again, like I said, if you need to, you want more about this, you can always reach out to me, and then we can, you can take the course. So ready from this now, like we'll have a course already, positioning for nursing leadership. If you really want to move from one level to the other, you have a goal to be a leader, you have a goal to be, to take up a particular leadership position, and you want my help to help you to walk through that, I'll be glad. So let's start with effective communication. These are the key skills for developing your leadership, leadership potential. So be able to communicate clearly and concisely. I've talked about that. Sometimes, people will say, well, I don't speak good English. And some of this, sometimes you actually discourage a lot of people from taking up leadership position. But I want to say, don't let that discourage you, right? Fine, you can always improve yourself, improve your spoken English. You might need to go and take OET. I always recommend OET, even if if you're preparing for, maybe you need to write, what's it called, English proficiency test. I would recommend OET for nurses, because it has a way of also helping to improve your communication in healthcare altogether, and not just for passing sake. You understand what I mean? If you can also enroll for some English language courses, short courses, and so just to improve yourself. Listen to podcasts, listen to, when you're, even television series and all that in English, and not, for those who are from Nigeria, not just YouTube, Yoruba movie and all of that every time. Watch, movies like Grey's Anatomy, what's this movie again that I was talking about, nurses, The Good Nurse. You watch all those kind of movies, and it helps you pay attention, because it's also a learning process for you. Active listening, which is very important. All these skills can be learned, and they can be developed over time. Using of non-verbal communication. So I'll say this more like just to put some humor. So when I moved to Ireland, you have Indians, and to my Indian friends, I always crack this joke with them as well. That was a cultural shock for me. The way the Indians will always, shake their head when they are talking to you and all that. So initially I kind of missed, I took that for agreement, maybe they are agreeing with what you're saying, but that is not always the case. They're just saying that I can hear you. So there's a difference between somebody hearing you and somebody actually, understanding or listening to you. So you can hear, but are you listening? So are you in agreement? But if you just shake their head, sometimes you confuse it, and then you think that they're saying yes. So some as simple as that, there's a non-verbal communication. It could cause a lot of confusion if you don't get the clarity. Maybe you're trying to communicate the need of a patient, and then you see your colleague do like this, and you all just believe that, oh, she said yes. Maybe it's to give the patient medication, or to turn, and you think that it was a yes, that your colleague has agreed to do it, and it was just saying, I can hear you, and not I agree to it. So being able to be familiar with different nonverbal communication, even both to your teammates and even your patient, is very important. Feedback skills, yes. Like I said, I always love feedback, and most times, every place I work, before I leave, I always ask for feedback from my colleague, either in writing, or there was a time I actually did, like I used Jot form, just an evaluation anonymously, and I got a lot of feedback, honest one, not always sweet, and all that. So how do you take feedback? How do you give feedback? Are you the type that if you want to tell somebody what you think about them, you're very aggressive about it, or it's more of maybe antagonistic, or you're always like criticizing way and not constructive. So you also need to check that feedback skills. Critical thinking, I think I've mentioned this. Be able to be able to analyze things, to be able to solve problem, make decision, and innovation and creativity very important, right? Are you very innovative? Are you creative about things, even in your patient care and all that? So these are very important when you're talking about leadership. And I think I mentioned emotional intelligence, very important. It's you being self-awareness, self-discovery. Are you self-regulation, empathy, some social skills, very important. Always sometimes adding some humor. I remember like when I was still actively in the clinical, Christmas, I love working Christmas. I love working on Christmas Day. And you know why? Because I get to bring joy, that Christmas atmosphere to the world. So wearing a hat, Christmas, and I know that I will sing in the word and all those kind of things. So just bringing some humor. It is not fine. There's a lot of troubles. Maybe you may have some personal issues, but it's always very good to have social skill. Again, I did struggle initially with, socializing with my colleague, because I love to just do my stuff on my own. But even off the regular work, you need to be able to socialize. And one thing that I find very interesting when I moved to Ireland is they will ask you, colleagues will ask you, do you want a cup of tea? Can we go have a cup of tea? That doesn't mean that they want to be friend with you, but it's just some social, that's just some social skills like that. And or asking you, how was your day? Do you have anything plans for the weekend? Anything plans for the holiday? So when you're in that, what's it called? Your staff room and all that, just be sociable. That's very sociable. That doesn't mean that you have to be loose and all that, but just have some sense of humor, so to say. So it makes people, it makes people want to talk to you. And as a leader, your like your team members need to be confident enough, or they have that freedom to wanting to socialize with you. Not every time that you have to frown your face and that kind of look away and all that. So that's very important. It's all part of emotional intelligence. Okay. So again, I think I'm rushing up because there's a lot to cover, and if you need any specific, if you want to take this, you can always, reach out to me. Don't forget, you can still take that assessment. You'll find the link on the YouTube. The link is available on LinkedIn as well for you to do your self-assessment for, being, leadership potential. Now, let's talk about effective leadership strategies. So we've been talking about some of them, but particularly, maybe it's this one, talking about leadership style. What's a leadership style? I think I've been asked this question in an interview before. I don't know if you've been asked before that what is your leadership style? So there are a lot of leadership style, you can always read up on this, the autocratic, demography and all that. But the one I'm very, very passionate about, and the one I think I adopt, is a transformational leadership, right? So because it is not just about you, it's not just about giving some role or delegating or allocating. It is about, there is a vision. So you have a goal that you want to achieve, and then you have a team you're working together to achieve that goal at different points in time. Right. So that is, a transformational leader. And a transformational leader will always be open to feedback, very open to innovation, creativity, ideas, suggestions to make things better. Always evaluating, as you go, not just the way you want it and things like that. So it's very important. So understanding which style suits you best can enhance your effectiveness as a leader. So again, you need to check and say, what is my leadership style? What, and for my place of work, what leadership style works best? So every organization will always have their framework for leadership, so to say. So get familiar with that. So concerning the tips, I have 3 strategies here, practical tips. leading teams, managing conflicts, and I think the last one is about inspiring others. So there are more to this, but I'm just picking this just for the discussion today. Leading your teams. How do you lead your teams? Okay, I'm just going to take a moment there just to check on the online, the live shows and see how people are doing. Any question? So again, if you have any question, please feel free to drop them. I'll be taking questions later on. Is that okay? Okay, let me just go back to my live. So leading teams, as a nurse leader, either intending or you already want, you need that leadership. How do you lead your team? Again, like I said, as a transformation leader, so I kind of developed this for transformation leadership. You need to be able to set goals and expectations, and it is sometimes things won't work out the way you want it, to be honest. Like you have a team. I remember when I was a nurse manager, clinical nurse manager in a nursing home, and we've agreed, we talk in the morning, this is how we're going to go about things, but things don't just go the way it was planned initially. So you need to be able to follow through as well, check on your staff, your team, how are they doing during the day and so on. And even if there are some deficiencies, supporting them along the way to achieve that goal. So it's always good to always think we are working as a team. You can't work in isolation. Fine, you have your caseload, you have your own patient caseload, maybe 6 patients to yourself, or maybe you even have some extra things to do, but you cannot neglect your team. It's very important. And all of these are always, people watch, people see, they see how you behave in certain situations, and they will, once there is an opportunity for leadership in your place of work, they will say, no, that one that we always, people will always observe. So you need to be able to work with your team. Either you're aspiring to be a leader or you're already one. It's very important. So again, foster open communication, which is very good. Clarity, be clear. If and you can do this by also adding documentation. Make sure things are documented clearly. Clarify things if you are not sure. Don't assume. There's a lot of assumption. I say, oh, I thought this, I assumed that. Assumption is very, very, dangerous when it comes to, being a leader or playing your leadership role or even working with your team. So, and you need to build trust and collaboration. Now, you need to build trust starting with people believing you. Like if you say this, that is a fine. Very common in nursing, and we need to be honest. Sometimes you're going on break. Everybody has their break time. And I've also, I'm not innocent here. Sometimes you go on break, you're supposed to spend 20 minutes, but you take 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes, 35 minutes and all that. So, and sometimes all these very minute things, right, can affect the people, trusting you when you say something. And it's very important. It's just being integrity. Just make sure that you have integrity and collaboration, working together with your team. Very important. Provide opportunity for growth if you're in a position. So, for instance, you saw an opportunity. Maybe you saw like a job opportunity or even career development opportunity. Share it with your team member. So that is one thing a leader. You don't keep everything to yourself, okay? Because you have a team. So when you provide or share opportunities for growth, it also position you for that leadership. It places you in that height that, oh, this person is a leader because you are open, right? Very important. I'm going to move to managing conflict, which is very, very important. And I need to say that I think I did my best in this area. Like when it comes to managing conflict, it's very important because how you manage conflicts actually is reflective on your leadership skill and whether you be a good leader or not. How you manage conflict. There's no how, but there will be conflicts. There will be conflicts. So again, like I said, the first thing to do is to address the issues early. as it happens. If it's between you and a colleague, you're addressing it, even a patient, any conflicts, interdisciplinary conflicts, addressing it early. I always want to assess what happened, how did we get here? What happened? Just to assess the situation and address it that time. Very important in conflict to listen, because it's not just all about you. So listen to the other person as well. Share, stay neutral. In most times, as a leader, you need to stay neutral and objective. So this is not a matter of, oh, this person, and this happens a lot. So this person is from my country. Usually based on experience as overseeing us, you find maybe you have some nurse managers, because they are in the same country as the other person, that you're in conflict with. They kind of tend to be, favoritism and all of that. So, but that's not good. So as a leader, you need to stay neutral. You need to be objective about things and be able to resolve skills, issues, conflicts when it arise. You will have some interview questions, so many times you'll be asked, how do you resolve conflict? It can ask you maybe more like it will be a case scenario, or this competency-based way of answering questions, like how do you resolve conflicts? Tell me a time that you have resolved conflict, or maybe you had a conflict and how did you manage it? So all of this is testing. They're testing your leadership potential as well. So inspiring others, which is very important. Again, if you go back to the self-assessment, has anybody actually told you that, no, that was very inspiring? No, like you inspired me. Have you led by example in anything, as simple as maybe cleaning up after you use an equipment? As simple as that. As simple as, taking responsibility for patient. As simple as even, documenting, if you have a new tool in the world that you have to do, you're going ahead to do it, leading by example, which is very important. And also supporting others or reminding others to do the same. Communicating a compelling vision. Maybe there is a goal, there is something that you have to do together in your place of work. How do you communicate it? Do you encourage innovation and creativity? Honestly, anybody that has worked with me, there's always like, Ola, you inspire me. And I'm always very innovative. I'm always looking for a problem that I can, solve either by research or by quality improvement, and just look for something to do. And sometimes it's not always supported. Sometimes I feel like my ideas are not supported, but that doesn't stop me. I just keep going. I just keep going. I remember when I was a staff nurse in the Malta then, and I did this evidence-based research module, and one of the requirements then was that we should identify a problem where we work and use research, like just literatures, to provide solutions or to explore that problem. So it was more like I had to do a journal club. It wasn't embraced by everyone, and everybody will look like, what's she doing? In fact, I remember that the nurse manager then told me that it's a brilliant idea, no problem, but you won't get extra time. You have to do whatever you want to do within your time. So there is no dedicated time, that protected time for you to be innovative or to be creative or to do anything, that you want to do. But that didn't stop me. I went on with it. So, and those experiences all together kind of help me and build me up, to where I am. I'm not yet there, I'm not yet where I want to be, but then, step by step, you're getting closer and you're becoming better. Also very important, inspiring others is showing appreciation and recognition. Yes, somebody helped you along the way, in your place of work. Do you show appreciation? Do you maybe you work together as a team? Do you give credit to your team members and things like that? So very important strategy as well. Now, I talked about this briefly. It's that sometimes you want to be a leader and everything, but you don't have the support. So supporting your leadership journey, I need to talk about this. And this is speaking to nurse managers, nurse leaders, people around that most nurses want to be able to say, I'm a leader, because like I said initially, it's not about title or position, but being a leader where they are in their own space, but we need support. Support is crucial in leadership journey. Having a mentor. Do we even have people that can say, I want to be a mentor, that you can say, I'm a mentor? So do you have mentorship program in your place of work? It's not just academic, even in the clinic as mentorship, which is different from preceptorship, also, although similar, very important. These people can guide you and build a professional network. So you need to find one, okay, and also speaking to the organization as well. Make sure that all these are in place to support nurses to be good leader or to take up leadership position. And I'm going to say this at this juncture, rather, that if you look around as a Black nurse, proud Black nurse, sometimes I just scream because when I get to some meetings, when sometimes I feel like, is it a privilege, or is it that I'm qualified? Because sometimes you are the only Black person in a room full of white people, nurse leaders or managers. And it sometimes makes me feel uncomfortable because I just ask that question, does it mean that we don't have other nurses, Black nurses, who are leaders? So, and I think this also comes from the place of support, from the place of recognizing people who are leadership position and giving them that opportunity as well. Some people need to go through, like we are working on a project now to developing leadership and mentorship program for Black nurses and midwives in Ireland. It's on the way, and hopefully that will come to fruition very soon. And people can actually take active, step in harnessing leadership potential. So that's, and it's also about signposting and pushing people to take up leadership position, because it's very important. So because we need more leaders to make more leaders, right? We need more mentors to have more mentors. We need that. That's the way it is. So the more we have at the top, the more people will also climb up the ladder. So that's very important. So we need that support system, like peer groups, professional organization. Join one. All right, I joined Aremu. I'm a member of Sigma Theta as well, the Phi Gamma chapter, virtual chapter, and so there's a lot of other organization. Like I'm a member of the Irish Research Nurses and Midwives, and so on and so forth. So if you join some of these organizations, it helps you. You will see opportunities to lead, either by volunteering or by appointment, or by nomination. So start where you are. So like I said, I volunteer a lot. I do a lot of things, but all those things, all those opportunities build you up actually. Right? So all these organizations can also provide valuable resources and encouragement. I have a very recent example. So I saw a particular opportunity, which is like a funded course for postgraduate diploma in gerontology or so, and I shared it in the association group. So that this, if you're working in a nursing home, is recently launched or funded by the government. And somebody came back to me that same day or the day after, that what you shared, he discussed with his manager, and funding has been approved. So he's taking that course, right? So if I didn't share it, fine, you might see it somewhere else. But what if you didn't see that opportunity? So if you belong to some of these organizations and you make yourself available, you will get valuable resources and some encouragement to take on leadership position. I think we are coming closer. So I didn't want to just go through this because I'm very, very passionate about internationally educated nurse, and I'm just going to chip in this about my book. You can see my background there. New Not a Novice Nurse. And some of these things that I'm talking about, I have it extensively in the book as well. So if you like to get one, it's available on Amazon, and you can go through my website, NCOH Care Consulting, and get a copy for yourself. So that book is basically a guide to help internationally educated nurses, either intending or new nurses, to thrive in their, in abroad or in diaspora, wherever they are. So some of the challenges that have been identified, even in this leadership journey. Like I said, I've talked about having very few, Black nurses or midwives take up leadership position. Now, interacting with people, some people might have said, well, I don't want to be a leader because why? I want my Sundays, I want my weekends, for premium because of money and all that. So it's okay to want money and all that. But is that all? Like sometimes you need to, again, like I said, we need more leaders to make more leaders, right? So if everybody just say, oh, I just want to be at that level, then who will be our role model? Who do we look up to? Things like that. And especially when we are talking about equality, diversity, and inclusion, you want that representation as well. You want to be included when it comes to matters that pertain to, that affect you when it comes to decision making. So if you don't rise up to that leadership position, that means decisions will be made that will affect you without you or without any representation from your hand. So it's very important that we don't just relax and say, well, let me just do. We have people who have been just staff nurse for 20, 25 years, in the diaspora, and find, the way the pay scale is, there will always be a limit. You always get to that end of the scale, but it's not just about the money. It's also about the impact that you make. It's about the life that you transform. It's about the life that you inspire, and we need to think about this. I know there is this general thing that we used to say back then, that nurses, it's they are young. But I think for me, and this is my honest opinion, personal opinion, that it's not just about, I don't think nurses are eating their young any longer. But you know what I think? I think sometimes nurses are leaving their young, leaving them to their own fate. So, and this comes to leadership as well. So if you are in that leadership role, are you supporting the younger nurses to come up the ladder? Are you intentionally going for that leadership position because you want to influence change, because you want to bring about change? So that is something about that we need to think about. So there have been a lot of challenges, like I talked about, language and communication. And I've had a nurse that actually left Ireland because she was struggling with communication. Some people will not be nominated or even be called upon to take up leadership position because there's that feeling like does not communicate well, or I can't understand what she's saying, or language, but just general language barrier and all that. Those are challenges. Cultural competencies, I have a course dedicated to that, how to cultural integration and diversity in nursing, if you're interested in that. Credential recognition, which is very important. So for me, I was a nurse tutor back in Nigeria before I moved to Ireland. Worked for 4 years, but I had to start at the staff nurse. So if you don't have additional qualifications, so I had my master's, and when I got here, I did that evidence-based postgraduate module. I did a postgraduate course in healthcare leadership. So you are, get more qualifications. That is how you get more recognition, and it's also in addition to the skills that you have developed. So sometimes you'll see all these adverts sometimes, they will say desirable, qualification, but there are some mandatory qualifications. So if you don't have that, then no matter the skill that you have, you might not qualify. So you still need some form of qualification to improve yourself in certain role. So I think that's about that. If you have any question, I'm mindful, I don't want to really go over 1 hour, so we're almost finishing. If you have any question, you can ask. But while I'm waiting for your question or so, you can take the self-assessment, practice that survey as well for yourself. Again, think about the times when you took initiative, when you resolve the conflicts, when you inspire your colleagues. So these are all indicators of your leadership capability. So you need to assess yourself, identify your leadership potential. Where are you in the leadership, journey? Do you even want to be a leader? So those are some of the questions. Are you a leader? Do you want to be a leader? And how do you attend to all of these things? So you can use that link, and you can scan the QR code there and put the code to just take you straight to the link. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm just going to go through the live and see if there is any question. So if you're interested in this, just for this masterclass, I provide a certificate of participation. All you have to do is to put in your full name and your email address. Just put in there in the chat box, or you can just send it to me privately. Either on LinkedIn, you can send me, or Facebook. Even on YouTube, you can just drop it there, your email and your full name, and I'll get the certificate of participation in this masterclass to you whichever time you're watching this, because it's going to be available on YouTube, so for replay and all that, and you can always take this masterclass. Again, if you need to take the I think I have, so this masterclass be available as a full course for if you want to enroll in it. So it will be available via my website as well for you to enroll. And I have other courses as well, different programs as well available. If you go through my website and go to the shop, for instance, the executive coaching is available, career coaching, research support with if you are preparing for NMBI, CSI, and so many other ones as well. So let me just look at the question now and see if we have any question in the chat box. Thank you, Chrissy Berger. This is very enlightening. Thank you. Bright is saying, this is exactly what I needed in my MSc in nursing program. Thank you. So, of course, you can always reach out for anything personal or in-depth. I think I'm going to close this slide. I don't think there's any other thing left. So that's about that. So thank you so much for joining in today. Wow, the time just went like that, very fast. 1 hour is gone. So this is to encourage everyone actually that you can be a leader. You can actually get a leadership position. You can do it. You can do it. I'm not trying to. Thank you, Uche Chukwumba. Thank you so much. Again, you can get the replay via, you can always come back to it on LinkedIn to be live there, or you can go through YouTube. If you want to take the self-assessment, I'll drop the link again. And I encourage you to, it helps you, even if you're already a nurse leader, you need to assess yourself constantly to see, what do I need to improve on? What else do I need to work on for myself to make me a better person? A better nurse leader, a better teammate and all that. So it's very important that we do this. And if you want a one-on-one coaching, remember, like I said, maybe you actually have a goal and you need somebody to work with you, you can enroll for the course via my website. Thank you very much. Let me come to you again with my book. You can see it on the background, like Aremu, New Not a Novice Nurse. So it's available for you to, procure via Amazon or my website as well. So, all right. Thank you. I'll be looking forward to your question or your DM. Please, thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Bye for now.